So we got the 1122 full summary here, and this chapter is amazing. We're seeing Joy Boy's like full power, or at least close to it. It's pretty incredible. He's probably the strongest character ever in One Piece, and we'll go more into that. But this also seems like this is the end of Egghead, since Luffy and the Giants are sailing away, and the Gorosei are gone. But let's get into it. So the chapter starts with more reactions from all over the world, like for example, Dressrosa. People are afraid that their countries may sink under the sea, while pirates are excited, thinking that there's a chance they could claim the world. In the Marine Hospital, Koby thinks back to the time he talked to Luffy about what it means to be the Pirate King, but Koby is determined to stop Luffy. He says, "Luffy-san, I must put a stop to your dream." Okay, so this is some interesting foreshadowing here. I guess Koby is going to fight Luffy one last time, and before Gear 5, maybe it would have been interesting, but at this point, there's really nothing Koby could do to Luffy, unless he gets even more powerful post him recovering from Hachinosu. Cut to Karai Bari Island, where Buggy is talking to all his subordinates. He says, "The world will be mine? Don't be ridiculous, it will be ours." All Cross-Guild subordinates cheer Buggy as Crocodile angrily orders him to come and sit down. Cut to Katarina Devon and Van Augur, and they are sailing back to Hachinosu. Devon calls Teach to talk about Caribou. "I can kill him now if you're okay." And Teach says, "Yeah, no, bring him here. I'll execute him if the information isn't good enough." Whoa, so this is exciting. Katarina Devon and Van Augur are leaving Egghead after Katarina Devon had touched Saturn, who she can now like transform into. So that's like a ticking bomb waiting to happen. But also them talking about Caribou here, who also joined them as they were leaving Egghead. He had been with the Straw Hats for like all of post time skip essentially. And he said that he always wanted to meet Blackbeard and that he has information for him. And that information being like the location of the ancient weapons. He knows that Shirahoshi is Poseidon, and he knows that Pluton is underneath Wano. And I think that this is further continuing that storyline where Blackbeard is eventually going to get Pluton from Wano. Back to Egghead Island, Vegapunk's message continues. He says, "And that is the truth. Joy Boy." As he speaks, Mercury attacks Emeth again. This time the transmission Dendenmushi is destroyed and Vegapunk's broadcast ends abruptly. Nushjuro is still running after the Thousand Sunny. That is what Zoro noticed in the last chapter. Saturn is on the shore regenerating after Luffy and Bonnie's combo attack. We don't see Bonnie in this chapter. So Vegapunk's broadcast is over for sure. Like, this is the official ending of it. I don't know how much more he had to really say, but he got out enough, I guess. The last thing he said was like, whoever claims the One Piece will essentially control the world, more or less. And then he was going to say something more about Joy Boy, but I wasn't going to be too substantial. We're also seeing that Saturn is washing up on the shore here. Still unclear if he fell into the water or if he's immune to it, if the Gorosei all are in general, because he was essentially being knocked into the water in the previous chapter by Luffy and Bonnie. And we're also seeing where Nushjuro is. Didn't know where he was in the previous spoilers that we went over, but he got blown up by Atlas, but we saw him regenerating and now he's coming back to attack the Thousand Sunny. And in an amazing double page, we can see that Jupiter, Mercury, and Nushjuro are about to jump together at the Elbaf ship and the Thousand Sunny, that it's almost touching the sea. And Emeth grabs something that is near its waist. We can't see clearly, and then he thinks about Joy Boy. He says, "I'm sorry, Joy Boy. I know you can't possibly be alive, but he looks so similar to you that I can't help but think about that day. Joy Boy, I'm sorry I couldn't make you king." Then Emeth asks something to Luffy. He says, "What is your name?" And Luffy says, "I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man that will become the Pirate King." And Emeth says D. Emeth pulls the thing that he grabbed from its waist, making that knot on a rope inside Emeth's body be untied. Suddenly, a lot of giant black lightnings emerge from Emeth's body. Most of the Marines faint in their battleships. Luffy is in shock. And Emeth says, "Hey, Luffy." And Luffy says, "Conqueror's haki." And Emeth says, "Thank you for letting me hear this nostalgic rhythm again. It takes me back." In an epic double spread, Emeth releases a super massive Conqueror's haki attack from his body that affects all Egghead Island. We can see huge black lightnings and the sea shaking from far away. Vice Admirals barely resist Conqueror's haki, and they have no idea whose powerful haki it is. All 5 members on the island are blown back and turned back into human form by the attack Emeth released. And after that, Jupiter, Mercury, and Nushjuro turn back to Mary Joie. Saturn is the only one that remains on Egghead Island. Alright, so that was incredible. That was literally an attack from Joy Boy. It's an attack from the past. It's going to be revealed revealed in a flashback at the end of this chapter what Joy Boy did to achieve this. But before we go into that, we're just seeing the result of it, and it's like so big and powerful that it's affecting the entire island. Vice admirals are barely able to resist it, and it's blasting away the Gorosei and like I guess forcibly turning them back into their human form. I don't know if it's actually sending them to Mary Joie itself or if they're manually doing that, but either way they're getting wrecked. Jupiter, Mercury, and Nostro are panting in the room of authority, and we see that Mars was already sitting there. He probably turned back to Mary Joie due to Luffy's attack. In the room of flowers, we see that Emu is kneeling down and screaming. Servant says, "Emu-sama," and Emu says, "Joy Boy." The Thousand Sunny finally lands on the sea and sails away from Egghead Island with the Elbaf ship. We see that they are quite far away. All in both ships are in shock, wondering where all the monsters are gone. Giants are confused too, asking why a robot can use haki and why haki made people disappear. This makes me think that Egghead is over because, you know, we finally have the Thousand Sunny and the giant pirate ship departing to Elbaf. And Vegapunk's transmission is over, the Gorosei are gone. Seems like this is the last chapter, I guess. In the Egghead shore, we can see the remains of Emeth on the ground in front of Saturn. The last 2 pages of the chapter are a flashback between Joy Boy and Emeth that took place centuries ago. Joy Boy was sitting on top of a hill on an island, talking to Emeth. And Joy Boy is still in the shadow, but we can see he's wearing a straw hat and a coat. Emeth is wearing clothes similar to Giant's, similar to Bronchi's clothes. Okay, so the first time we're seeing this much of an outline of Joy Boy, and he is wearing the straw hat and a coat, so I guess he does look like Luffy, you know, also considering what Emeth said earlier on, how they look so similar. I mean, you could just take that into them both being active in the Sun God Nika Devil Fruit form. And Emeth, the robot, wearing clothes for some reason. Joy Boy says, "Remember, Emeth, only when the time is right." And Emeth says, "When the time is right." Joy Boy says, "I will compress up my most powerful haki and I will seal it in your body. One day I will die, but you will live on far longer than me. There will be a day when I can no longer come to your aid. When your life or the life of people you want to protect are in danger, that is when you will know the time is right. When that time comes, untie the knot." Emeth says, "When the time is right, you will come help me?" And Joy Boy says, "That's right, I will come to protect you from the past, as I always do." The light in Emeth's eyes changed shape because Emeth is very happy about what Joy Boy told it. He says, "Thank you, that makes me happy. It's like having you with me all the time." Joy Boy says, "Of course, but we are talking about something way ahead in the future, aren't we?" In the last panel of the chapter, we return to the present. The light in Emeth's eyes are gone, and Emeth says, "Way into the future. I wonder if I will be lonely." So yeah, that was pretty wild. We've been seeing this recurring dialogue flashback with Emeth of where he's remembering Joy Boy telling him this, but we didn't really get any more info, and it's like Joy Boy somehow knew that an event like this was going to happen in the future. And it makes me wonder, like, how does he know? Does he have like some kind of crazy future sight where he can see years into the future, like hundreds of years into the future? Or was there like some kind of Charlie type of character that existed back then? Either way, he knew that this was going to happen, or at least in the future something like this was going to happen, and he sealed a Conqueror Haki blast on Emeth. This is like next level. I don't think we've seen anybody do something like this before, right? So that shows that the attack that Emeth used in this chapter is like straight from Joy Boy. It's like if he was there himself and did that haki blast. And it's showing that he is, you know, one of the strongest, if not the strongest ever. I guess it's between him and Emu. And I assume that he's got to be stronger than Emu, and Emu had to cheat to win or something. But Emu's probably a close second to Joy Boy in overall strength of all time in the series, right? But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you thought about this chapter in the comments. And if you liked it, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.